You are now tuned in to Let It Be the Podcast with Fergie, a podcast where we discuss a variety of topics from lifestyle, faith, and the struggles of the everyday believer. This is a podcast about simply releasing control and just letting things be. I'm so glad you tuned in for the conversation, and don't worry, it's safe here. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. I know it's been a while, but I have a special treat for you today. I am joined with two amazing women who have been very pivotal in my life, and I'm hoping and I believe that they will inspire you as well. So thank you for joining this conversation with me.
Absolutely.
I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, but I just wanted to say it's kind of ironic. This is a full circle moment for me, talking about like using your gifts, because I stepped away from my podcast for a very long time. And I don't know, I feel like ever since I turned 30, my life just kind of flipped upside down, and I just wasn't interested, and I kind of felt like I didn't have a gift. I was questioning everything. So I'm grateful for us connecting and just persistence with you reaching out, because like you can talk to somebody like, oh, hey, and we get together. It's been a while, but like we get together. So It wasn't something that was just kind of like just happened. But I'm just really grateful that you reached back out to me and said, hey, like, to do lunch, because if that wouldn't have happened, I was just not in a good space. And so I didn't expect our faux date to turn into like, I guess I'm going to record again, because this was the last thing on my mind. Yeah. So I really am grateful. So I'm going to let both of y'all introduce yourselves. Who you want to go first?
Yeah. I guess I'll go first. Okay. I am LeStar Cofer. I am a life coach. I help women shift from stuck to flourishing. I am the founder of The Worth Shop, a nonprofit organization for women. Our mission is to help women heal, evolve, and become and embrace their God-given purpose. I'm a mom and an HR professional.
Ooh. I am Sommer Allen. I am a business owner. I own Brow Sugar. I do microblading, blade and shade, ombre. And for me, that's my ministry, helping women feel confident and look beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And you do it, okay?
Thank you.
They look really good. I gotta tell me something fun about yourself, something that maybe most people don't know, something that you like to do. When you're not serving and inspiring and uplifting women, what do you like to do?
When I'm not serving and inspiring, I love to CrossFit. I like to work out. So for me, that's fun and keeping myself healthy. And I've just lost 58 pounds.
Congratulations!
So excited about that. But that's something that I like to do.
It's fun to me. Okay. I love to get dressed and try new restaurants. It makes me feel good. I love the entire experience. I love to I'm very outgoing, so I just love to be out. I love to get the girls together and get dressed and be cute and have a night out with a good meal.
Yes. So I want to know deeper into both of that. For you, Summer, like, how did you get into CrossFit? Because I tried it. You invited me to the place that you go to, and I was like, oh, I ain't coming back here. It was a lot. So how do you, and I'm always intimidated when I see those women working out online. So how did you get into that?
So January of 2018, LeStar actually found the place. Mm-hmm. We was just like, we need to get our fitness together. We need to be healthy. We need to lose some weight. So she actually found the place. Mm-hmm. And we went, we did like a trial, and it literally just started from there. And I have loved it ever since.
Wow.
I don't know about LeStar, but
listen, I went for a few months. And I said, this is all I'm going to be able to give y'all.
Yes, see, it seems pretty intense, but I do see the benefit of the women, like the workout, like how it shapes our bodies. Like, I don't know about men, because they just kind of look that way anyway. But for women, you can just tell you can tell the difference between like a woman that's doing CrossFit. So kudos to you, because
I love it.
Jeez,
I love it.
So I have a question about where did you find your tribe?
You know what? My tribe came along back. I mean, we've been friends for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. I met Summer's sister, Kanisha, first. Really? Actually, no, let me take it back. I met my best friend, Nakia, in middle school. So that's how far the tribe goes back is middle school. And, we've just had a connection instantly, and we've been friends ever since. As an adult, I met Kanisha when I was 20 years old. I was in a, very dark place, and we became friends, and I met Summer through Kanisha, and we instantly connected. I mean, just like, I'm like, who is this girl? We're like twinsies. Yeah. And just along the way, God has blessed me to cross paths with some amazing women outside of my close-knit friends. I have met so many amazing women that I've just been so blessed to connect with and build relationships with and cultivate safe spaces with women. And I'm just grateful for my tribe. It's so necessary to have.
It's crazy. It's like literally a gift, I would say, just to be able to connect with women, because a lot of people can't do that. Yeah. So what about you? Summer, did you know everybody like at the same time? Like the whole clique? Did y'all all get together like around the same time, or how did that work?
No, so just like Star said, she met her best friend in middle school, and then I met LeStar through my sister. Okay. We all kind of just started.
But then, like from way back then, though, like everybody was cool, not just you and Star.
And so, from then we all just started hanging out, and Star and I would just, we just kind of clicked. She was funny, I was funny, and she lived down the street. So if I wasn't at her house, she was at our house, and it just became like sisters, really. Yeah.
I love that. So how did y'all end up in Dallas? Because y'all not from Dallas, right?
Girl. No, we're from California. Okay. Born and raised.
Okay, let it be known.
So initially, my sister relocated with her job. Okay. And she begged us to come. So LeStar moved here first. And then I came, but I wasn't, Texas wasn't I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't hitting. So I went back for about a month and a half.
I was so mad. I
went back, for about a month and a half, and they were calling me every day, and like, you're a traitor. Aww. You betrayed us. You need to come back. So, but I knew I was coming back. I just wasn't ready at that time. But and that was in 2007. So it's been 16 years.
Wow.
Now.
That is amazing. I love that y'all got a chance to like have this experience together, like move into a whole new state. Like y'all from Cali, so it's a culture shock, I'm sure. Like everything is different. So that's good that y'all have even been able to maintain a relationship that long.
Oh yeah.
And even like help each other like flourish just in your businesses and things that you're doing. So it's a blessing.
It was a huge change. And definitely it took a lot of getting used to, because I really thought I was only going to be here for a couple years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I guess it grew on me. So.
I still say to this day, like I was just saying this week, I cannot believe I still live in Texas. But please know that our tribe did not come by, jelly beans and flowers and cakes. We have evolved individually, which then allowed us to be better friends, better sisters. All four of us are just better than we were, years ago. And it took trial and error. It took, breaking down to build each other back up.
Digging deep.
Yes, digging deep individually, and also understanding each other, and also giving each other the space to grow as well. Yeah. So our tribe is solid. We are a vault, and, I'm just so thankful for us.
I've never even heard that word before. That's amazing though, because like a lot of friendships don't survive those ups and downs, like, and sometimes I think, like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like I have a best friend. I've been friends with her since I was in kindergarten, I think, but we lost touch for a really long time, and just kind of we actually ran into each other on the elevator on moving day in college. So that's how we reconnected. But like our relationship is solid, but we've been through times where like we're seasons of closeness, seasons of not. So like, how do y'all maintain that? Because I think it's different for me, because like I kind of isolated from like all my like best friends and things like that. I'm here by myself. So when I'm going through something, I kind of like revert, isolate myself. But so how does that work with y'all being in each other's space? Because like my friends can't see when I'm like going through. Maybe if I'm a little distant, but like, so how do y'all allow each other that space to grow? Like, what's that look like?
I think the beauty about friendship, or our friendship, is that, you know, each of us are so different, and we have different relationships, and not that we're closer to one more than the other. I think we just have a different relationship with each other, and understanding that different relationship, but also being honest with each other is key. You know, we don't sugarcoat it. You know, sometimes we may say things that are more rough than others, but we're quick to apologize and quick to see our faults. And also just affirming each other and motivating and pushing each other. And I know they probably get sick of me often because I'm always, you know, just wanting, I just have such a great desire for us all to be well in every area of our lives. Yeah. And, you know, I may sound like a broken record sometimes, but I think that we need that, you know, and so, but also learning to give each other space, because sometimes, you know, we don't want to hear all that, you know, so knowing like she may not be feeling well today, or feel like hearing that today, or Kanisha may not feel like hearing that today, and backing up and saying, okay, let me give her space to do her, or to be whatever space she's in at that moment. And I think we've learned that too, just from, like I said, our original tribe was 5 of us. One of our best friends passed away in, what year was that? That was
2010.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sorry to hear that.
And then when we moved to Dallas, we met other women who we're really close with as well. And so learning the relationship with each woman that we've met as well, that are close, you know, that we're close with, has taken some time as well. So just learning each other, being mindful, and
and just like I would add another thing that I do. So yes, I do give my friends space. You know, sometimes like they may get upset at something you said, something you did. I'll give them space, but not too much.
That's good.
Because you don't want too much time to go. You don't want too much time to pass. You know, whatever it may be, you want to be able to sit and talk about it. Because sometimes if too much time passes, you know, you kind of start really dwelling on it. And so my friends, I talk to them pretty much almost every day. You know, and if I don't, it's like, what's going on? And even like you have to also get to know your friends, because you can also hear in their voice when something is not okay. And so you're like, hey girl, what's up? Oh, hey, wait, what is that? What's going on? And I'm talking about even showing up, like pulling up. Let me pull up on you, because sometimes I need to see your face. Like I need to see like what's going on, you know. And you know, and then you have friends that can kind of hide it. And so I think it's really all about like studying your friends, knowing who they are, and you know.
Yeah.
I love that you say like not too much space, because I think that's an area. Because in the past, I'm gonna be transparent. I'm sure my best friend wouldn't mind me sharing this, but like in the past, when I would go through things, I typically like revert. I'm by myself. I'm isolated. Or before I started going to therapy, I didn't know how to communicate my emotions. So it would either like I'll let things build, and then I'm gonna erupt, you know. And that used to cause a lot of strife, and like they didn't know how to like communicate with me, and so it's evolved, especially in adulthood, over time. And something that I had to be honest, because with my friends recently, like I went home and I told them like, hey, space is not good for me in this season. And it's kind of fun. Like I didn't really have in mind to talk about community, but I think this conversation is intentional, because for me, like I have not had community the way that I used to. And I had to be honest about where I am. And I think that's me growing, because before I probably would have never admitted like, hey, I need people. But you do need people, because people bring things out of you that
100%.
Like they help you. Like you cannot do life alone. And talking about community is kind of like helped me evolve since I moved to Dallas. And so I actually want to get into that question, like how did we meet each other? Because I'll speak from like my point of view, where I was. Like I moved to Dallas and I didn't know anybody. And one thing, like, because I'm such a loner and like laid back, I don't necessarily want to talk to people. But I told myself, like, when you move here, you can't be sitting up in this apartment. You have to get out of your comfort zone. And that was a small little challenge for me, but it changed my whole life.
Yeah.
But I told myself before, like, what did you do? What did you do at home that like could make Dallas feel like home for you? And for me, it was being involved with the youth, being involved with just community service. And so I was like, kind of like, okay, well, there's a community center down the street from my apartment. So one day I just walked in there, just like, hey, I'm looking for things to volunteer. Just what do y'all have going on here? And she told me about an organization. She was like, it's a mentor organization. They're going to be on this day. And I don't remember all the small details, but I literally was just like, okay, I'm just going to come. And so that is how I met y'all. I don't know, like, if you remember, like, where you were at the time with the organization. I don't know the history of it, how long you had been there, but if you want to talk about like how we met, where you were at that time. I think that was 2016. It was y'all was like some of the first people that I met.
2016. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So you pulling on my age.
No, no way.
Yeah. So I had the mentorship program, I Am Butterfly, at Timber Glen Rec Center. Yes. And I think you just showed up there and you were just so willing to help. You wanted to know like what the mentorship was. And I believe we had a short conversation. And I think we were doing mentor interviews. Did we do the mentor interview? Like the official?
I don't think at that time. I think you guys had like a conversation.
I know we had a conversation.
Interested in being a mentor.
Yeah. Okay.
But I remember just like, was it on Thursday? It was just one day.
It was Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yes. And you just, ever since that conversation, you showed up every week to mentor those girls. Aww. And the girls weren't the easiest, but your willingness and just your sacrifice, you showed up. You lived in the area, but just showing up after long days of work to help us mentor high risk or at risk youth in that neighborhood, because it really wasn't the best neighborhood. And from there we just connected, and we've been connected ever since.
I know, it's crazy. Y'all was like literally some of the first people that I met when I moved here.
I remember, because you weren't here long. Yes.
Like probably maybe 3 months. It probably not even that long.
Yeah.
It was during the school year, and I moved here in September, so it was probably October.
Yeah, because that's when we started. We always started back. We took a break during the summer, and we started back up in September.
Okay.
So you came right when we started back up.
That's crazy.
We just were trying to help them change the trajectory of their lives, and for what they were, it wasn't their fault in the space that they were in. So we were just showing up. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just knew that I wanted to help these girls, and I was so happy that you came, because listen, we needed mentors like crazy.
It was me for some. Well, we had a couple other mentors, not as consistent,
right?
But one thing we knew, me and Star was gonna show up.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
You came, and so
we were like,
okay,
yes.
One thing that I love and I admire about y'all's relationship is that if I see you, I see her. If you got an event going on, you are always there, and I think that is so important when you are like, I don't want to say like I haven't like had an organization but sometimes it's hard. Like even with my trying to do this podcast by myself, like you can't do things by yourself. No. So I love that you have both of you have cultivated a community that will help you serve and like your dreams and use your gifts and pull things out of you and get you out your comfort zone. So I think that that's important when you have friendships like that. So that's something that I really admire about the both of you. Because if there's one, there's another. And that's something that is like very important, I think, just to maintaining friendships. And it's kind of like what I wanted to touch on as far as like your gifts. Like how do you even get to that space? Because one thing that I love about our journeys, and the reason why I wanted to bring y'all on is because our experiences are so different. Mm-hmm. Like we do so many different things. How did that start? Like what made y'all want to serve? Were you a part of organizations like that when you were young? What made you want to do something like that?
No, so my gift is connecting and compassion. Mm-hmm. And I will also say cultivating. As far as I could remember, I was, even as a little girl in elementary school, I was the person that was going to be the friend to the girls that didn't have friends, and always just trying to connect people. Even in my circle of close friends, I just want us to stay connected and close, and so I strive to keep us close. And so that's kind of how I've discovered my gift, is just having the pull and the compassion and the passion for just connecting people.
Yeah.
And so through that, and then also too, just as a youth, I knew that the things that I needed, I didn't have. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to become what I needed to other girls. And so that's where the I Am Butterfly mentorship program came out of that, just wanting to create a space for youth girls, mm-hmm. and just try to help them, pour into them and help them become something great, and give them the very things that I didn't have and that I so desperately needed as a youth girl. But I think that was God's way of just kind of opening me up to what He was going to bring me to, which is the Worth Shop, which is creating safe spaces for women. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, I just have such a passion for connecting people and cultivating healthy relationships, for women to just be who God has called them to be.
Amen. Yeah. So what about? Yeah, that is good. What about you? Because it looks so different. I feel like Star is, she says she's outgoing, or I think you're outgoing, but then you act sometimes like shy. So I don't really know.
So I'm very outgoing, but I don't like to be in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be like in the background. Mm-hmm. So even this being here,
I know. Thank you for
is a lot. For
I know.
Me. I said no several times.
And I'm just so grateful that you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Like
I really
I don't know. I know it's because people are like, oh, I can't imagine you not being afraid to be in front of people, but I really that's just I just rather be in the background. I don't like the spotlight on me, but but as far as my gift, when I was younger, I always used to just play in makeup or play with my mom's stuff and shoes and clothes and everything. And I remember I always wanted to just make women or little girls or young girls or my friends just put makeup on them and do their brows. And so, fast forward to high school, I'm doing everybody's brows. Don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'll be tweezing their brows and putting eyeshadow on stuff, doing their hair. So for me, I knew I would probably be doing something in the beauty industry. And so I was in corporate America for about 16, 17 years. And I remember being at work and I happened to pull up Instagram, and I seen what I do now, which is microblading. Mm-hmm. And I remember just watching it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally do that. This is really what I want to do. So that's what I'm doing. But I feel like this is my ministry because I run into so many women who are broken. Mm-hmm. And for me, my prayer when they come there, it's Lord, let them feel better than when they came. Amen. And so a lot of times it's literally it could really be a therapy session. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I just had a client a couple weeks ago. She said, Summer, I just love coming here because I literally feel like I'm at a therapy session. And really that just blew my mind away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, really? She said, yes, because just talking to you, it's I leave just feeling so much better, mm-hmm. And so I've prayed with women, I've poured into them, and vice versa. They've poured into me. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll sit and just kind of go over their life story, and they're just literally an open book. We don't know each other. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's my opportunity to really show them who God is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even if they don't know God, mm-hmm. just the God that's in me. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, I love you. I want to see you well, whatever you want to do. We talk about their gifts. I had another client who wanted to be an esthetician, but she was just I come from nothing. I'm nowhere, whatever. Long story short, She literally sent me a message maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, and she said, I just wanted to let you know that you pushed me to this, and I have graduated with my esthetician's license. Wow, and so just hearing these stories, it's just amazing. Like, literally, this is my ministry, 100%.
And one thing about you, your personality is so captivating. Because and then I love how you can pull somebody in, but then you're gonna get a word too, or be encouraged, and laugh along the way. You might cry, but you're gonna be encouraged. And I love this is why I really wanted to talk about this, because it's kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, because our creativity is shown a little differently, right. Because even for me, I never wanted to be. I love serving, I love helping, but I never wanted to be on the spotlight. I don't like talking. I don't want you to look at me. I don't want you to know anything about me, but other than what I share. And so for me, even having a podcast, and it's weird because I studied PR, and then I used to do broadcast, but I was comfortable with maybe hiding behind the shadows of someone else. I don't have to do it. But this season of my life has pushed me out of that, has really forced me out of my comfort zone. And doing this, I had no intentions on even creating a podcast, because I felt it's everybody said, it's oversaturated. Everybody's doing it. Who's going to listen to me? But something, and before we recorded today, I had been listening back to a lot of those conversations, and it was ministering to me too, because something that my mentor told me. She told me our gifts is we serve the audience of one. It's not about the masses. Right. It's not about who you can put on. If you create an event and 100 people come, but if one woman's life is changed, if you have 100 clients a week and one client's life has been changed because of something that you shared to them,
it's all worth it.
It's all worth it, because you could be the only God somebody ever encounters.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why it's important. I think that's why my heart goes out to the youth, especially at risk, high risk youth that don't know any better, that just emulate what they see.
Right.
So I think that our gifts are so important, and we can't sit on them. And I love how different it is, but how intentional. How intentional both of your gifts are. So I have a question about because our gifts are so different. How do you stay motivated? What encourages you? Have you gone through seasons where it's okay, I know I've helped people, but I'm not feeling this. I'm not motivated. I want to know how how do you stay motivated? How do you get when you recognize that? What do you do?
You know what? Just this week. So I had a event recently, sold out event.
Amazing.
It was such an amazing event. God literally blew my mind with just how he showed up in all of it. I mean, even the little details. And when the event was over, I so quickly forgot what God had just did. And I found myself discouraged again.
Really?
Just okay, what's next? What do I do? How do I do this? And I really couldn't go by motivation alone, right? Because I feel you can't. Purpose requires us to show up regardless of how we feel. Regardless of if we're self-motivated or, we feel the push, we just have to get up, show up, and do it. And I realized that when I stand in my purpose, I stand in power. And I had to really shake it off and remember what God had just done for me. Literally showed up in ways that when I think about it now, I just get the hair on my arms just stand up, because God showed out. God did his big one with this event. And so, I just have to remember what God has done for me in the past, to know and believe, and to just be reminded that the same God that showed up before will show up again. There's no scarcity in God. God's not out here with crumbs, passing the little crumbs around to each of us. No, God is big, and just like he showed up before, he will show up again. And so that is the way that I stay focused. I just remember what God has done for me. And I don't really live my life by motivation alone, because I can't. Because if I'm sitting around waiting to do something when I'm motivated, I'll never get stuff done. Just this week, I was all over the place. I was God reminded me, girl, get up and do what you're supposed to be doing. And I got up and I started planning again. So that's me.
Yeah. Right. So for me, motivation, I think for me, it's seeing the lives that I'm changing.
Yeah.
And so, let's be honest, there are times when I'm not motivated, you know, and I don't want to, because in a business, you have to show up for yourself, right? It's just me. If I don't show up for myself, who's going to show up for me? And so there are times where I don't want to do it, you know, but it's so funny because like he's just so mindful. Like I'll just get a random message, and they'll, you know, a text, DM, or even a phone call just saying, you know, I know this is something small, whatever, but just thank you so much, because just talking to you or just you praying with me, like, has changed my life. And I'm like, okay, God, like, okay. And so just that right there, that's enough motivation, because somebody's waiting for me to show up, right? And so for me, that's the motivation that I need.
I feel convicted, but also inspired to just remember what God has done in the past, you know. And I think that, like, I'm in a transition in my life, just personally. It's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and
Take your time.
Just like going to lunch with y'all, like that was I needed it, you know. Yeah. Like I just needed just to be around somebody and laugh. We gonna laugh if we get together, you know. Yeah. So like I was grateful for that. But when you reminded me of like my gift, and you said something that rang with me. You said sometimes like we don't need God to show us another way. Sometimes it's not about waiting on God to reveal the thing. It's just about you and doing it. Yeah. Because He's already revealed it to you, just doing it. And I think about like recording a podcast, and I just honestly shared before we started recording that I was listening back to old episodes and I was cringing. Like, why am I on here? Why am I sharing my business, talking? Like, why am I doing this? But like you just said, like thinking about the people that have reached out to me and said, hey, like I've gotten so many messages. And I like the things that I was sharing, I didn't know why I was just sharing it, but I would get downloads like, okay, this is what you need to talk about. This is what you need to talk about. And thinking about the messages that people would say, like how that episode helped them, or healing relationships with their parents, or just helping them. Like somebody was like contemplating suicide. Like that's a lot. Yeah. And that's a lot. It's like, so sometimes I can doubt like, okay, God, well, where my life is right now, it doesn't seem that impactful, you know. But then I think about like when you get out of your own way and like just utilize like everything that God has for you, everything that you need, it's already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's already, and I'll share this small thing. So typically I record off of, like, I bought a iPad just to record on. But my Mac Pro is old as dirt. It's like a robot. It's old. And I have not had any storage on it in so long. And so yesterday I was like having a time, and I was like, I'm just going to tell them we're not doing this. Like, I'm just like, I'm over it. Because I've never recorded on this Mac before because it was no storage. Yeah. Yesterday I was about to erase it, but I'm like, I can't do that because I don't know what's saved on my hard drive, and not back and forth. I ended up calling Apple, and I had to call them twice. I talked to another person, and he showed me how to clear something, and I ended up with like over 30-something gigabytes of space that for years my computer has been full, so I could download this app so I could record. Like, and this guy's showing up in those ways. This has never worked. It's never worked for me because my MacBook is so outdated. This program has never worked. That's why I was trying to figure out like, how do you get these levels? Because in my mind I'm like, God, if this don't work, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And so it just, even in those little nudges, like all you have is all you need. Yeah. Literally. Absolutely. And like when you be obedient, something else will follow through, but you just got to take those leaps of faith. Take a step, take another step. I think that's where I've gotten discouraged, because even as much as like me, like I shared on my podcast previously, like I'm writing a book. And when I was motivated, it was fresh. I sat down and I'm writing, and it's literally like my testimony, but it's a lot of the lessons and like things that's helped me evolve from that point. But then I kind of got in my own way, got in my own head, like, well, what am I motivating to do? Look at my life. Like, my life is not like, what's the word that I use? I just didn't feel like I had achieved anything to even be inspiring or writing. I've had journal, like I have like so many, I used to write all the time, and then I learned this lesson in 2019, but like I used to think that if I found my worth in like a job, then that would validate me. And if they said that I'm good, then I'm good to write a book, or, you know. And like I had a boss, like I had a bad experience in 2019 at the job that I was at, but she told me that I couldn't write for one of our clients because I wasn't a good writer. And I'm like, girl, you don't even know how I write. You don't even know me.
Right.
But when she said that devastated me, and I haven't touched my book since.
Wow.
I haven't touched my book since she said that to me. And she never, like, you never know, like, your words, like, and how they can impact somebody. But I was so inspired. And I don't think that I'm not a good writer. Like, that's something that I used to enjoy doing. But then getting caught up with, like, comparing myself to like where I could be, or like I'm not good, exactly. I'm not good enough. And so I kind of like put it to the wayside. But I want to say, like, here within this last week, I picked up my outline and I started writing again.
Oh, good.
And I haven't, like, I've already written 4 chapters are already done.
Wow.
And I know, like, with I can't believe I'm talking about this right now. That's crazy. It's like gonna hold me accountable when I say it out loud. But I haven't touched it in years, since 2019. But
that's amazing.
I started, because I've been in a space where I'm like, I need to get back to myself. And I think I was trying to find myself in other things because I didn't feel like I was worthy enough of my gift. I didn't feel like because it's kind of hard. Like, for me, an area that I struggle with my gift, I know this speaking. I connect well with people. I speak well. I can write. But how do you package that? And like, you have a business, you do brows, you know what you're building, you have a nonprofit, you create events, you do those things, but I don't have that kind of like how do you what do you do with this? I'm just supposed to get on here and talk, and then what? Because I gotta pay my bills, so it's hard.
You gotta pay them bills. But no, seriously, this is so funny because I don't know if it was you and I or last week we were just talking about comparison. We were talking about our gifts, and what we said was that God has gifted each of us with a unique gift and enabled us to reach the people that He assigns to us. So my gift, and the beauty of it all is that God gives us different gifts. Like, we're all different. We all have something that God wants to use. And that brings me back to, like, why do we compare so much? Why aren't we happy with what God has given us? Or it could be that some people don't know what their gift is. Yeah. But what you're doing is impactful. Right. It is your gift. Those that are supposed to you're supposed to pour into, or those people that are assigned to you, will get the very thing they need from what you're doing, because that is the gift that God has given you, and He doesn't make mistakes. Yeah.
And I know it all works together. Like, Romans 8:28 has been my grounding scripture, because everything I just shared, like my testimony with y'all, so like everything that I've been through in my life has played a part in some way. It always works together. And I believe that. I think right now in this season, it's just kind of hard. And I haven't shared with my podcast much, but like turning 30, something shifted in me. I don't know what it is. My therapist told me, she said, when she turned 30, she grieved really hard. She grieved for the life that she thought she was gonna have. Yeah. She learned how to grieve, but then you pivot, like this is your life, so like you build upon that, because society will tell you like this is what you're supposed to have, and then people who think like life is just supposed to go certain, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Right. Well, those ain't the steps that my life is in, and I don't feel like I'm behind, like, because I'm in a age where people are getting married, having kids, and just doing things. And so I think kind of been looking at my life, or having a thriving career or something that they're passionate about. And it's hard to stay motivated during this,
real.
And it's like, so for me, it's like, what do you do? Because I still ain't found a job that I actually enjoy, So I'm just like, God, I know you have something for me, but what is it?
Just showing up.
I want to know. Tell me, like, just give me a glimpse of something. Like, I think that's where I kind of struggle, like, because I don't feel like, to be honest, I'm glad I don't have children. I got a dog, kind of, for now. And, that's really been taking me through the ringer with everything we've been going through. So I'm just like, thank you, Jesus, that it's not an actual human. Because I don't have the capacity for that right now, you know? And, like, I don't know, like, thinking about where I thought I was going to be or how, like, I was going to move to Dallas and everything was just going to be. Some people move here and thrive, and I'm not saying I'm not thriving. Like, I'm very blessed and I'm grateful for, like, the journey that this has been for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, God, like, I want to keep being obedient. I want to keep showing up, but I don't feel you. I don't feel you near me. I feel like you've left me hanging. Like, like, I was going through all of those emotions, and it's been a roller coaster for these past 8 months or so. But that's what I wanted to know. Like, how do you stay motivated? Because, like, for me, I don't know what the end of this is. Like, I don't, because it's, for me, like, I don't like being on a platform, really. And I, like, if you look at podcasts now, and it's this comparison, but they do videos. I don't want nobody looking at me when I'm talking and crying and being vulnerable, So it's like, okay, God, what does this mean? And maybe I'll listen back on this one day and like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
But I think when you're journeying through it, it's like I'm trying to be obedient, but like my life kind of, it's like it's always something going on, So it's hard to stay motivated. But I wrote down what you said, like you can't go by motivation alone.
Yeah, you can't. And honestly, I don't know all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what my next move is going to be. I don't know, what I should do. I just literally continue to pray and ask God, and I continue to show up, because that is the way that you give God something to work with, is to keep moving forward, keep going, even when you don't know, you don't see the vision, you don't see the plan, you don't know where the finances are going to come from, you don't know where the people are going to come from. You just literally have to keep going, stay consistent, give God something to work with, and along the way, I promise you, God will show you what it is that He's called you to do. And I'm not saying that because it sounds good, but
it's the truth.
I've tested and approved, and it is the truth. God always shows me what He needs me to do when I'm showing up. Now, when I get to a place where I'm like, I'm stagnant, or I'm not gonna, I get in my own way, and I don't want to do it, and I don't want to show up, then of course I'm looking around like, okay, God, what's next? And God is probably like,
He's like, what you mean?
You not
right?
You not waiting on me. I'm waiting on you.
But you saying that actually just makes me think of something. I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes, and he was saying that his son was struggling with his purpose or what he wants to do, his gift or what have you. And so he said to him, just start somewhere.
Yeah.
He said, because that thing will lead you to the thing.
Yes.
So basically just show up somewhere, because whatever it is that you're showing up for, God's going to lead you to what it is that He wants you to do, or what you want to do. But you have to show up. You have to give Him, just like you said, you have to give Him something to work with. Because if you don't, like, you can't expect Him just to do everything. He's already equipped you, right? So it's like He's waiting for you to make that move.
Yeah, and everything you need is ahead of you.
It absolutely
When you get stuck and you stop and you don't want to do it, or you get in your own way, then you're really going to be lost and just venturing around and trying to figure out what it's going to be. You have to show up in whatever it is that, like Summer said, start. You have a podcast.
Start there.
Obviously is something that has tugged on your heart. It that sparked the interest. It's something that you want to do. I promise you, if you keep going in that, God will reveal and unfold the very thing that He has for you, or what He wants you to do.
Yeah. Thank y'all for one. Thank you. I needed that. And I think that going forward for me, because even though I stopped potting, I never stopped writing. So, like, if I would get downloads or something, like, I haven't been, like, my life has really been a roller coaster lately, but I've still journaled. Like, I still have ideas. Like, I would get ideas, but I just didn't have the motivation to speak, and that was just hard. But that's also why I want to stress the importance of having a community, a God-centered community, people who are aligned in purpose and who love you, care about you, and want to see you in purpose. Because we can get distracted with noise, outside things, or people who are going nowhere, you know, or who just dating. And just, I think, like, sometimes those things, it's not nothing wrong with us desiring those things, but then those become our idols, and then it takes us away. And then I think that if you take your eye off of, like, God, if you take your eye off of what He's already equipped you to do, and you're looking in somebody else's lane, you reckon, you know, like, and that's why, like, you're miserable when you, like you said, like, if you are not walking in alignment of, like, the direction that God has for you, it is miserable.
Oh, yeah.
It's very miserable.
Been there, done that.
Listen, it's draining. Yes, literally. So that's why, like, you really do need community, and I admire y'all. I admire your relationship and your commitment and dedication to one another, because this is what true friendship looks like. You know, and calling your sister out when she's not operating in a space that you know that she's capable of, like, encouraging.
You gotta pull their coattail. Yes. What are you doing?
Exactly.
What's going on? And
learning to, like, even if they're like, not that you, like, you don't have ill intent when you are, you know. And so, like, I think that when, like, in relationships, if you know that your people, like, that they love you, bottom line, I love you. And so even if I'm not where, like, I could be, should be, used to be, but if I see my sister doing something or out of alignment, it's just like, hey, sis, you know, you got it. You have something to say. You have something to do. Like, that's why we can't do life alone. And I think that I'm learning in this season, this year has just, I'm like, God, like, I feel like now at this point, I'm done fighting. I'm just, whatever happens. Especially in these last, I would say this last month, so much stuff has changed in my life. At the point, I'm like, God, if you want me to record this podcast, I'm going to be able to record on this computer. Like, I'm trying. Okay. Listen. I'm like, I'm trying.
He
like
said that.
Because I ordered different equipment. I'm like, I was about to buy another computer, but then I'm like, hold up. Like, that ain't even smart right now, you know? So I'm just like, God, like, if this is what you want, like, have your way. You'll provide. And so I think even in these short amount, a couple of weeks with some of the things that I've been going through, God is showing me, I see you.
Oh,
I hear you.
It's
like,
so beautiful.
And I needed to be in these, and it's kind of weird because, like, I was watching Inside Out. Have y'all ever seen that on Disney?
Inside Out?
It's like a cartoon.
With the balloon?
That is for us. No, that's Up.
No.
Inside Out, I think everybody should watch that movie, but it's like about our emotions. And so basically Joy was trying to, I'm talking about Inside Out. The Disney movie. It's so good. It's like literally ministered to me. That's a grown up.
I'm gonna go watch
it on Disney Plus. So Joy was like, no matter what, you gotta be happy, you gotta be happy, you gotta be happy. And she was kind of like shunning sadness and all these other emotions. But in order to have joy, you gotta have some sadness, so you can appreciate your joy. They play a hand in hand. We can't just focus and want to be joyful and happy and everything is just going well and thriving all the time. That's not reality. And I think that when we chasing that, it exhausts you. That's when you end up in imposter syndrome, like when you depressed and like confused, you know. So I'm learning to, you know, take those jabs of sadness to the chin, but I know something gonna have to come from this. And I can tell just for myself personally that, like, I am growing spiritually a lot because I have a peace, and like from the outside looking in, it looks like the towers are falling around me, but I have a peace that I cannot explain. Even with like my dog, like I was like, God is gonna have to. He gave him to me. So he will make a way out of no way. And he, in the nick of time, like, that's why, like, my reaction to the lady, like, my reaction to her response was, like, it's not about my dog. It's about God showing me that he hasn't left me, that he care about the little things, and that he will use everything he will use everything. It's not in vain. The things that hurt you the most, the things that you feel devastated or God, like, you've abandoned me, like, all of it. Give it to him. And I'm like, in this season, I'm learning to trust that. To just trust that. if I'm going through it, you've equipped me for it, and something is gonna have to come from it.
Yeah.
But that suffering is just hard. It's so hard to stay motivated, especially if you are alone. So I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate being just supporting me, willing to show up, and you stepping out of your comfort zone, especially because I know you didn't want to do it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for sure. And this conversation has been inspiring to me. Very encouraging.
Me too. This is definitely a push for me to to keep going. Like I said, this week I experienced a little bit of discouragement, but one thing I did want to mention is that you said you started back writing. Mm-hmm. That is a gift. Mm-hmm. Not everybody can write. They can read, but they may not be able to write. I'm saying write, literally putting a storyline, or you're putting together words, captivating words, is a gift. Mm-hmm. And a scripture I wanted to remind you of is Proverbs 18:16, and it says that your gifts will make room for you and bring you before great men. That is a scripture that I have been meditating on, and I'm standing on in this season, because first I need that reminder, because I do feel discouragement some days. I don't always wake up confident, ready to go, ready to do what it is that God has called me to do, but I do it anyway, and I have to remember that it's not about me. It's about the women that God has called me to, the women that He's assigned me to, and my purpose is bigger than me. So I have to show up in purpose. So that is a scripture, and on purpose, absolutely. So that's the scripture that I'm standing on right now, and I encourage you to read that daily and just meditate on it. That's God's sweetest reminder that He's just so mindful of us, and He's so mindful to even bless us with unique gifts, and for us to use and use it in our own unique way, our own personalities, our own, putting our own little oomph on it. And it's just so beautiful, and a lot of times we take that for granted because we get in the way of that. I wanted to say something else, but I forgot, but I think you were but yes, just stand on that, Bree. Stand on that, and I promise you, God is going to show you, just like He's been showing you little things here and there. He's such a good Father.
Yeah. So how would you, in general, this is a question I was going to ask, how would you encourage somebody who doesn't know their gifts maybe, or afraid to use their gifts in a way, because you don't know, for me saying, I don't know, how do you box it up and sell it? And maybe it's not to be sold, but how would you encourage somebody to identify their gifts or, walk in it?
I would say pray. And, I'm not just throwing it out there, for real, pray. Yeah. Pray and ask God to reveal it to you. Because sometimes we can manufacture purpose and try to create something that isn't what He called us to be, because we're trying to find our identity, and we should be striving to find out what our God-given identity is, and with that comes God-given gifts, and He'll show you your purpose and things of that nature. But that's the first thing that I would say, is to pray. But I will also say to lean into the things that you're passionate about. Lean into the things that tug on you, the thing that you would do for free, because you just have such a big, not to say that, you can't get paid for the things that you're doing, because
but if you could do it for free.
But if you could do it for free, then that could possibly be what God is calling you to do. And I would just say, let fear fuel you. Don't let it stifle you. Let it fuel you. That's what I would say.
And just to piggyback, definitely pray. Definitely pray.
Yes.
And just like I said a minute ago, start somewhere. If you do not know, start somewhere, because I guarantee you that thing will lead you to what it is that you want to do.
Yes. Absolutely.
Really.
Could you share, like, because you have a business, right? Because I think about, like, you work in HR, Star, but you're an entrepreneur, but you also get to operate in your gifts. I think, like, where I get caught up is I feel like corporate America is, like, jail to me. And I be wanting to be free. I don't want to do it. So I'm like, God, like, please show me the way to go. So, like, I know that you just doing brows, like, I know that didn't just happen overnight. And I think it's a popcorn society. So it's like, oh, she's good at brows. She's going to start a business and she's going to be able to support herself and it's just going to thrive. Like, what was that process like for you?
It was, oh Lord. So for me, I was intentional about really owning my own business. And so, like I said, I couldn't stop watching the videos. So I knew like, okay, this is like 100%, this is what I want to do. And so I started researching. I took a course. My first course I took, almost $3,000.
So you invested in yourself.
And I invested in myself because I knew, that's what you have to do. And so the first course, I'm gonna be honest, trash, right? I didn't know what's that saying? I didn't know then what I know now. It was not a good course. So anyways, invested in myself, practicing, right? So definitely practicing. Took another course, much better. And so, but what I started to also do was write down my goals and when I wanted to open and when I wanted to start my business. So I knew I had to practice because you have to practice to become good, right? And so, but in the interim, I was terrified. To start. And my friends, my sisters, Sommer, what are you doing? When are you going to start? When are you going to open up? And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to take another course because I started to feel like I wasn't good enough. But then my sisters they were holding me accountable. Like, okay, you said, this day you wanted to start. So I actually I was like, okay, I was really, really intentional about setting these goals and starting, even though I was terrified, even though I was scared. And that's what I did. And I wanted to quit the first week. Didn't quit the first week. The second week, didn't have no clients. And that's a whole nother thing. I didn't have clientele. So it was literally a step of faith. But let me tell you one thing, how God put this thing together. So, little backstory. At the time of me starting my business, I had just gone through a divorce, right? So I knew I wanted to start my business. And it was during COVID. So all these thoughts, I'm like, okay, initially I was going to open my business March of 2020. March of 2020, we were shut down. Like literally, I'm like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? And at that time I was out on short-term disability because I had just lost my child. Okay. And so I was out on short-term disability, getting ready to go back to work. I prayed to get laid off because I knew if I can get laid off, I can get a severance, I can file for unemployment, I can open my business, And so literally that very thing happened. I prayed to get laid off, got a severance, opened up my business. Well, not right away, but I was able to take the steps, open up. I mean, when I say God literally put this together, and I was just blown away. And then I opened October of 2020, and the rest is history.
Thank you for sharing.
I didn't have clients for about 7 months, but he kept me afloat.
Yeah.
I had a business, I had a vision, I had goals, but it takes time. It takes time. And so during that whole time I was learning to market and use social media and put reels together. And, so I literally started with nothing. And now I'm, there's still some ebbs and flows with business. I'm only 2 years in, a little over 2 years in. But I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would not trade it for the world. It is the most, like entrepreneurship, of course, like you're going to work more than you do in the corporate world. But it is one of the best decisions I have ever made.
Thank
I
you for sharing
love
that.
what I do.
Thank you for sharing that. And all I'm hearing I feel like for all of us, it's like God he showed you when he made a way, provided for you, and you didn't know how things were going to come. Like everything that you went through that still came out to be like what had hoped for, you know, but he went through some things, but he still provided because he used everything to work together.
Yes,
and even for me, because like I'm in a season of unknown, you know, like when you are in that season of unknown, it's just like, well, what do you do now? Like, you know, so thank you for sharing that. I think that this is a reminder to me, and because I'm recording this and saying it's like I have to keep going because this is the only thing that feels natural to me, you know. And it's scary, it's weird because I don't know what the end goal is. It's scary, you know, but this is natural, you know, and so it's like you have to show up. And but, go ahead.
So I know like there are times when like, you know, with you just saying like you're in a season of like the unknown. Sometimes you have to be in the season of the unknown because if God really tells you or shows you what you're going to be doing, I think fear would just really set in. Yeah. And so sometimes you just I mean, it's so cliche, but like literally you just have to trust God.
Yeah, you really do. And the unknown it's the place where you learn the most. You know, just like Summer said, she was having 7 months with no clients. That sounds like a season of unknown to me. But she learned so much. Even, you know, what I do, planning events and curating safe spaces for women. You know, sometimes while I'm planning, I don't know where the money is going to come from. Literally don't know where the money is going to come from. But I just trust God, and every time God delivers. Every time.
And it's always, and I'm on the outside, but every detail that you put into your events, like that is a gift in itself. The detail of it, you're so intentional about it, and it's not about the way it looks. It's about the spaces that you create, the women that are inside of there. That is so, like that's how you know it's a God thing, and that's how you know that God is going to provide a way, even when doors close, even when you don't know where money is going to come from. If he called you to it, he's going to see you through it all the way. And 100%. when you see those glimpses of like success, like, okay, this was well, because you said earlier, like, then you kind of found yourself back in a funk, like, well, what's next? Like, so it's like the same thing. Like, he'll do it again. He'll do it again, or he'll pivot you. Either way, you know, but like you said, like, thank you for reminding me, like, give God something to work with.
Yeah.
Because if you just sit there on your hands, like,
you're not giving him nothing to work with.
Yeah.
You want him to come down and do it for you, use you as like a like, no, you have to do it.
You know what I mean? Where it's like they looking at you, you looking at them. I feel like that be God in me, like, girl, move your feet, get up.
Seriously, it's hard to get up and speak in front of women. I don't claim to be the most captivating. Sometimes I don't even like to hear my own voice, but you know, I do what I can, you know, and I'm not the most captivating speaker. When I hear myself speak, I'm like,
what?
I'm like, oh, I need to do some training or something.
Let me tell you,
I just show up anyway.
No, let me tell you, you are so nurturing in your voice. I said that earlier, like it's very I feel safe, and it's weird, but that's how I feel. I feel so like, oh, come listen to me. I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to encourage. That's the way. It's like a hug. Honest to God, your voice is like a hug.
Oh, my God.
It is. And so I'm serious.
That's so beautiful.
And so, because I'm thinking about, and I have the video. You had an event a couple of years ago, and it was at those Bass stores in Dallas. Do you remember?
The first event with that storm?
Storm.
Yes.
I was recording because I was trying so hard to stay in the moment. Like, I was recording, and it was a big, big, loud boom.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And girl, I would have been panicked. Everybody out. Take cover. That would have been me. Y'all take cover. I don't know what's about to happen, but you didn't. You continue on. You kept speaking. Like, LeStar, you are made for this.
Girl.
You are made for this.
I receive that. I really do. I don't take those words lightly at all.
Honestly, you are made for what you're doing. Like, and the people that you attract, God will provide like speakers or panels, because you're so intentional about every part of it, of your events. God is going to continue to provide, but you are literally made for this.
Oh, thank
you are.
Bree.
Like, speaking in public is not easy. I'm going to start taking like Toastmasters. I think that's a class that I want to just, of course,
need to do that too. I was just telling Summer, I need to take some. But oh my gosh, yes. I literally just do it by faith.
Yeah.
That's
what I always...
That's real talk. And I'm not just saying that. That is real talk.
And it's funny.
I show it by faith.
It's kind of funny how God will use women. Because most women that I know are people who speak. It's not something that they just want to do. Unless, like, it may be entertainers. But, like, when you are doing something this intimate or even working with people, it's like, I don't really want to. But do it. Like, I was thinking back, like, my first public speaking that I remember, I spoke at my high school graduation, and that was the first time I ever spoke like on a stage. And then like, wow. So thinking back to like other instances where I've been given a microphone and scared, shaking, but I'm speaking. I recently spoke at it was like an 8th grade fair with some students in Cedar Hill, and I had went to like talk to them, but then I'm on the mic speaking. I'm just like, this is just comes natural to me. It's not that I just I don't want you to look at me, please. You know, like turn around while I talk and receive it. You know,
turn around and receive it.
Yes,
I understand. But I think that's a gift too.
Yeah. So
like, that's not for everybody.
Yeah, and listen, I'm hoping that like I'm walking away from this conversation encouraged and inspired. Like, and
me too.
I really believe that other people will too. But thank you, ladies, so much for opening your heart and sharing like personal things and just journeys. Like, I appreciate like more than you know. Thank you so much. I love y'all very much.
I love you.
We love you too, Bree.
So much.
And we're so excited that you're back at it.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're going to stay in it. Yes, we're definitely going to hold you accountable. And we need you.
Yeah.
This is the same conversation that we had at brunch that one time before I even started. Before I even, I showed y'all 2 of the images that I was going to use.
That's so right.
That's crazy. So
see, here we are again.
Yeah. So thank you.
Full circle moment.
Okay. I will. So 2 things I'm going to ask. When you are feeling away, when you just need to be encouraged, like, so I curated this playlist just for inspiration. It's called Let It Be the Playlist. It's actually on Spotify and it's on Apple. You can just search it. But can you tell me like 3 songs, maybe like your go-to songs that you'll listen to when you need to be inspired, when you need your spirits lifted? Like, I want to add it to the playlist.
Ooh, Bree.
Oh my gosh, girl, so many 3?
Just 3
songs. Let me go to my I do have so one thing I will say is that I do have playlists that are categorized based on where I am.
Really?
If that makes sense.
Like if you're sad, you listen to your sad playlist?
No, I do not. I try not to play into that.
Okay, good.
But I do, like, if you see my playlist, I have different categories. Like I have my morning worship too. You know, I just have like different categories. But so that's such a broad question. But I can give you one song that I have been playing out, and it's "You Remain" by Todd Galbert. Galbert, am I saying his name right?
I don't know how to say it either.
Galbert. Okay, yes. It's called "You Remain."
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. That song, it just brings me back. So, but I have so many. But that's my main one right now. And you know how, like, it changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're feeling away and you may want to listen to something else. But that is my song that I'm playing out right now.
So one song that I play I've probably been playing this song probably for the past 2 or 3 years.
Is it
It's Yahweh.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's a woman.
No, is it the one by
so
Chandler and
yes,
Chandler, that version?
Yes, well, it's 2 versions. The one of them is Daryl from the Walls Group. That's when I first heard it.
Yeah.
And then the other one
Send it to me so I can hear it.
It's called Yahweh. And it's like a worship song. I'll send it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna add both
All
of them.
Nations Music.
I never heard of that. All Nations Music?
Yes.
I know which one
that one.
I love that one too.
And then sometimes when I want to get a little gospel, like a little just...
Like the Black Church?
The Black Church. It's just a simple song. And it's just, thank you, Lord.
Who's saying that?
Named Pastor Tim Rodgers.
Okay.
Well, it's two of them. Pastor Tim Rodgers, and I'll send you the other one because right now I can't think of the other guy's name.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for sharing those songs. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna add them to my playlist.
I'm sending you my worship playlist.
Okay.
I'll just share it with you.
Thank you. Okay. So where can people find you?
Well, you guys,
if you want them to find you, because
find
we
me.
want to be found.
I want to be found. Okay. You can find me at on my Instagram at Brow Sugar. Do not add the N. It's brow, like eyebrow, not brown.
BROW.
BROWSUGAR. Brow Sugar.
Okay.
And then that's my Instagram. My Facebook is also Brow Sugar as well. Go on there and make an appointment. Come see me.
Listen,
because I will change your life.
Listen,
inside and out. Mm-hmm. I don't play.
Okay, period.
Well, you can find me on on Instagram at the.worth, WORTH shop, like a car shop, and on Facebook, the Worth Shop. And then my personal Instagram is LeStar Cofer on Instagram, LESTAR and plug in, get connected. We're shifting. We're shifting from stuck to flourishing. So holla at me.
And you got it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yes, and I also have a personal Instagram, and it's Sommer SOMMER 815.
Period. And let me just say, y'all, these are some of the flyest women I have ever seen in my life. So,
fly high.
So find their Instagram so you can be inspired, because when they show up, they show up. Okay. And I'll make sure to tag y'all on our post, because we got a lot of quotes and stuff. So I'm about to go back and listen to this and take notes myself. So
yes, because we're serving style and Jesus.
Period. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me for my comeback episode. This has been such a joy. Thank you for your patience while I work out the technical difficulties. I love y'all. I really appreciate y'all. And I'm excited for, honestly, what God is going to do through all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you too, Bree. Keep going.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I will be sure to tag LeStar and Sommer in these posts, as well as their businesses. Make sure y'all give a follow, tap in, just be inspired, be encouraged. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.